What did you have, Andrew?
So this is an article from the New York Post. It's actually very short, so I'll actually go ahead and just straight up read it. So it's titled "Comic Convention Exec Raked in $1 million from Stolen Items." A comic convention marketing exec raked in $1 million for himself by stealing celebrity signed merchandise from his own company and then selling it, according to a lawsuit. Stephen Seamus, 42, helped select celebrities for fan gatherings run by Wizard World. This is none of that's shocking to me. Which pays stars to show up and sign autographs for fans, but often finagled the high-profile figures into signing memorabilia for him personally. Seamus, quote, often negotiated money-losing deals for Wizard World in order to gain access to celebrities whom he could exploit for his own enrichment, end quote, and, quote, illicitly obtained, end quote, autographs for himself in the process, the company claims in a Manhattan federal court suit. Wizard World fired Seamus on October 27th. He could not be reached.
That was not that long ago.
No, I mean, the article's dated as of today. I just think it's interesting. One, Tracy, you had mentioned this before we started recording, that it's kind of an interesting footnote or caveat to the idea of celebrities making a lot of money that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, about how much more they're making. Also, I'm kind of not stunned by this being a Wizard World issue because they are so celebrity centric that they've almost set themselves up for something like this.
It makes me feel weird whenever and this happens so rarely. Usually if I'm going to have someone sign something for me, whether it's a statue or a book or whatever, usually a book, I have them make it out to me. But recently Kurt and I have gone to a couple of conventions together. So if we're both getting an item and having it signed, or we both have one, then I'll usually have one made out to me and then one just sort of as a gift. But it feels so awkward asking the person to not make it out to a person. And you kind of, in the back of their head, they're like, am I going to see this on eBay?
Yeah,
I just always feel,
At least my experience has been when I'm getting someone to sign it, almost always will I get it personalized. I can't off the top of my head think of a time I haven't. And most people get a little bit of a smile to them, when they're like, oh, it's going to be personalized. Like, okay, this is either for themselves or for someone they know. I'm not going to see this on eBay in a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember, I don't know who I was watching getting something signed or signing something. The guy was like, so who do I make this out to? And the person who wanted the object was like, no, you don't have to put the name down. He's like, you sure you don't want a name down? He's like, yeah, no name down. And you could see the look on the person's face like, all right, so you actually don't care about this.
Right.
And it sort of reflects in you don't care about me. Like, you're not a fan. You just want a high-profile signature on something, which sucks because usually I don't. And again, even in those cases, I'm never getting a signature for something I don't like. Mm-hmm. So it feels kind of scummy. Because I'm like, no, I actually like you. I like you a lot, so much that I want to share this with a friend, but I don't know what friend yet. Do you buy that? I hope you do.
Right. Well, at that point, even when you're telling the truth, you feel like you're lying and lying poorly.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think Andrew's absolutely right, though. This kind of stuff with Wizard World was bound to happen because Wizard World's focus is so heavily on celebrities that this just feels like it was an inevitability. I'm almost kind of impressed that this guy pulled that off.
Yeah, $1 million is a lot of money to make off this stuff.
That's a lot in merchandise because you got to think, how much is a signature really worth? A couple $100 at the most. Right. That's a lot of stuff.
I mean, even Sly Stallone was $500.
Right.
So he had to have been doing this a while, or he must have just had a ton of stuff.
Well, I mean, I think it helps. Like they said, he was a marketing executive. So he interacted with these people at basically every convention that Wizard World does, and they put on something like 20 or 30 events a year.
He could also probably make it sound like he's going to auction it off for charity or something. At least sort of imply that in the, because marketing, I mean, that's what they do, right?
No, I'm sure there was some very underhanded statements and things made, and
yeah, the article was basically alleging him of making deals that were bad deals for Wizard World and deals for him.
Yeah.
Right. That was basically it. So I don't know if there's a criminal aspect of this, but there's definitely back off.
Loss of income or something.
Yeah, you're terrible.
There's a dickhead aspect to this.
I'll be curious to see if we follow up on that later. How it turns out.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
We'll kind of keep an eye on that one, I think.